Good morning YouTubes, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Out for a very chilly spin on the trusty rusty thingaboo that is the 250RS. By the way, I hope you can't hear music in the background. I've got my headset on and I've turned it down, but I can't be asked to take my gloves off because it's below freezing. And I don't want to take my gloves off really because I'm nice and warm. I've got my heated kit on, including socks. Couple of winter adjustments on the trusty rusty. Oh, there's a bloody helicopter coming over, can you believe it? Oh well, you might not be able to hear that anyway. Screen, cheeky little screen. I got this off of eBay before I went to Morocco, and I stuck it on the scrambler when I went to Morocco and it worked really well. So I thought I was going to put the big old fairing on. If you've seen the early videos, this big proper 1980s thing, oh, it's lovely. But I thought I'd try this first because it's a bit more discreet, which isn't difficult if you've seen the other one. And obviously I can unbolt it and chuck it in the top box. Now I've been after a vintage top box since I bought this bike because it came with a rack, genuine Honda rack no less. It came with a rack and I thought top box would look good on that. And I've been searching eBay and they're all sort of like 40-50 quid for something decent and that sort of vintage. And I was helping my next door neighbour's door to go through some stuff because my next door neighbour, unfortunately, lovely fella, but he's not living at home now, he's in a care home. So I was helping going through some stuff in one of his sheds and this was there and I went, oh, an old top box, what you do with that? And she said, have it. He wanted you to have it, take it away. So Tony, thank you. This would have been on one of his old motorbikes from many years ago, and it is, oh, look at that. Obviously it was white at one point, it is a bit faded, but look at this, Alley via Calais, Townsend, Torres and Ferries. That is a proper old school sticker. It's showing about Yamaha, but I'll leave those on. But yeah, taking some gloves and some kit over to a mate Gibbo's house. He lives about 40 odd miles from me, I think, so it's a little bit swollen. You have to play with the clips to get it to close, but I'm most definitely not complaining. And the other concession is sheepskin seat cover, keep my arse warm. I would normally clip it completely over the seat, but I couldn't bother to take the seat off because with the rack on it doesn't come off. You have to unbolt the rack and tilt the rack to get it to get the seat to come off. So it is just clipped around the grab handle just so it doesn't fall off. And that's just got a toolbox drawer liner in the bottom just to give it a bit of grip, which does work. Now you can buy these. That is a proper sheepskin. That is sheepskin. It's not synthetic. You can buy them on eBay, Amsterdam, Amazon, you know, the adventure bike websites and what have you, but they're silly money. So this, believe it or not, was once a hat. I think it cost me something like £1 on eBay. I did a search for sheepskin hats, so it is a genuine, as you can see, hat. And then I chopped the hat down and opened it out, and lo and behold, it makes the shape of a seat and it keeps your arse warm, does give you a bit of comfort as well. So that's my other winter concession apart from the heated gear. And I just stopped at Godmersham Church, never been here, but there's a Commonwealth war grave, so I might actually pay a proper visit to this at some point, pay my respects. But for those of you who live further abroad, oh, in fact that could be the war grave there, no it's not. For those of you that live further away from the UK, welcome to a typical old English church. Yeah, very old ancient buildings, flint walls, all that sort of stuff. But I might pay a visit to that another day. Where? Church of St Lawrence the Martyr, Godmersham Tower, and Fabrice Norman, whatever that means. 1080 and parked probably earlier. East and Early English, 13th century. South Island porch, 19th century. There you go. Yeah, old. Older than a lot of countries, but then my house is older than America, as I tell my American friends. Right, let's get this thing of beauty fired back up. I fit a new coil to it the other day, and it starts first kick instead of second kick now. So I'm guessing the old cracked coil wasn't giving a proper spark. Let's go for medium jacket, medium trousers, maximum gloves, just to keep warm, because obviously I don't have heated grips on this, because these are the original 43-year-old Honda grips, and I don't want to cut them off, and I don't want to risk not getting them off and breaking something, so they'll stay for as long as they can. So your palms get chilly, but they don't get cold. With the gloves on max, they do keep your fingers warm, not a problem at all. Heated grips will obviously be better. Combine the two of them with a set of handguards and you're away. But yeah, that is what it is. Oh, Foo Fighters in my head. Best of you. Right, I might have to go because I want to turn that up. So I'm probably going to waffle a little bit more on this trip when I get out to some little lanes, because I have set a route for little lanes. I've obviously come out of Ashford, 29 miles, 51 minutes, should get there just after 1. For a cup of tea, chuck some heated kit on his bike and just check it all works. So, cheers YouTubes, speak to you a little bit, back. Hello YouTubes, I'm back. Done a few miles since we last spoke. Down through towards Canterbury, bypassed Canterbury on the A2, cruising at 60 miles an hour on the A2, thing of beauty. And now just gone through Littlebourne, the place where I spent a lot of my youth at a friend's house, which was a bit like a party house. We were all there. And now heading out towards Wingham, rather than take the main roads down towards Dover and up towards Thanet where Gibbo lives. I'm taking the little roads. The only problem is, because it is freezing, below freezing, excuse me, it's difficult to see whether the white patch in the centre of the road is ice or whether it's salt. So I'm obviously steering clear of it, keeping the speed down, and making sure that I avoid the little tiny roads. 20 limit, Jesus. I know they're for safety, but look, right, I'm now doing 20 miles an hour. Yeah, it's for safety, so don't moan about it. It's only through the town, so don't moan about it. It's not like this is a fast bike, stop moaning. It's a little bike, you enjoy riding along when you're just plodding, which is true. Oh, 23, 22, Jesus, so easy, innit? You can see how people creep over. I mean, blimey, it's not like I've got to touch the throttle a millimetre and it shoots off. This isn't exactly the, you know, the god of speed living in the engine down there. But anyway, yeah, talk about 20 limits actually. This planned trip to Wales we've got in July. I'm taking this. My mate John, he's going to take his DR350, and Simon's taking his, I think it's a 93, 94 Kawasaki ZX7R, the one that was dragged out of very long-term storage. Yeah, he's taking that. Look, Kia Car's caught me up already because I'm doing 20 miles an hour. I know they're all going, Jesus, that little fucking bike's doing 20 miles an hour. Sorry. Yeah, it's the speed limit. Oh, the bakery, Wigan. That bakery there, if you can see it, absolutely top notch. And back a little bit on the left hand side, there's a couple of benches and a little memorial garden. So if you're out on your bike, you can park by the benches. It's a cul-de-sac there. You can park by the benches and power. Yeah, you can. You stupid bitch. For fuck's sake. You can park by the benches and a 50. Power! Grab yourself a coffee, a nice little cake or a nice roll that they make fresh in there, and sit there and watch the world go by. It's very nice, as I have done in the past. So yep, that's out through Wigan towards Ash, and then out towards it's going to be the Sandwich Bypass up towards the planet of Thanet. And do you know what, I'm warm. I've got heated trousers, heated jacket, heated gloves and heated socks on today. I have got a base layer. Normally I just wear a t-shirt underneath the heated jacket and I'm warm enough, but as it was sub-zero, I thought I'll put a base layer on the top half, just because it's got a long collar. It's a Helvarson's one, it's got a long collar, so it keeps the wind off your neck, because anyone that rides a bike knows you've got to keep your neck insulated, because that's just like a big cooler when the wind whips past that, which is why, you know, anyone that rides in the winter wears a decent buff to keep your neck warm. But if you think back to the 80s when I was first riding on the road, my riding kit when I was 16 was a pair of jeans, a pair of trainers most of the time, I hate to say, or basketball boots or similar, certainly not bike wear. I had a leather jacket, but it was, I think you'd probably call it a fashion jacket. It would have lasted about 6 inches contact with tarmac at 30 miles an hour before it shredded, I would guess. And the elbows and shoulders had like a quilted pattern of foam stitched into it, and it was just foam. We used to think that was padding. You know, you could squish it together with your fingers, and we used to go, oh yeah, it's got padding. You know, compared to these days with armour, you know, and everything that you've got that actually does the job properly. I had a reasonable crash helmet. Well, that'll spend about, I'd say, you know, going back, I've spent about 80 quid in a crash helmet. That's the thing I did save up for. But as usual, I was so intent on getting the type of helmet that I wanted that the one I actually got, let's just cover the brakes, yeah, the one I actually got didn't really fit me properly. It's slightly too big, and the bike shop I bought it from didn't really check. There was no one there to advise me as such. I just picked it up, popped on my head with, yeah, that will do. But once the padding and everything had worn in a little bit, as everyone knows, you know, especially on older helmets, they do tend to give a little bit. Once that happened, it didn't fit properly, so I did change that. When I was 17, 18, I bought a Freddie Spencer Arai Super Vent, which I loved, and I've still got that helmet. Not only have I got it, but I was very lucky to have dinner with Freddie Spencer. Unbelievable guy, honestly. They say never meet your heroes. Well, there's an exception. What an absolute top bloke. But yeah, I had dinner with him, and I took my Spencer vent, you know, Spencer Super Vent with me, pulled it out of the bag and asked him to sign it. Of course he did, and he actually said to me, do you know what, I haven't seen one of these for a long time, because it was the original Spencer replica. He signed it to me, you know, to Nick, great to meet you, best wishes Freddie, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I offered to buy him dinner and he wouldn't have it. No, he was there with his wife and his daughter was about as well. Lovely family, all really nice people. I'm really drifting off the subject now. I was talking about Wales, wasn't I? Then I started talking about winter riding. Yeah, Wales, lots of 20-mile-an-hour limits, which is going to be a pain in the arse. I'm not looking forward to that. But then, you know, safety, yeah, you know, can't moan too much. But winter riding, yeah, the winter riding kit was absolutely dire. And I lived in Thanet, and I went to school in Canterbury, and I used to ride my 50 to Canterbury, my little Suzuki X1. So I would leave, I think I was about 7:30 in the morning, because it took about an hour, you know, because obviously you're doing 35 miles an hour. I mean, my 50 did do a little bit more than that. It sort of did 40 really on the flat. But when I got there, it was that pain where, you know, literally you're just clutching, normally it was my thumbs, just clutching your thumbs because they were in absolute agony. Because the best pair of gloves I had was an old pair of ski gloves, and that's what we wore. You know, I mean, heated kit is a game changer. Whenever people post on one of the Facebook pages about, you know, I'm going to be riding in winter, what should I get? And everyone goes, oh, just wear layers. I've never been cold wearing layers. Bollocks. You know, I mean, as most of you know, I used to ride for a living, and because the kit was paid for, we could have pretty much whatever we wanted, and we used to have layer upon layer of top quality thermal stuff, and you still got fucking cold. I don't care what you say. We had heated grips and that was it. Then heated clothing came out, and it changed the world for motorcycling in the winter. 100%. I know it's expensive, but you know, it's below freezing in January in the UK. You know, I've been cruising at sort of 50 mile an hour most of the time, so you can work out the chill factor. It's going to be cold, and I'm toasty, absolutely toasty. Oh shit, I'm going straight on here. Should have been paying attention to that, shouldn't I? Yeah, bizarre. Or am I? Oh no. Yeah, I'm cutting through Sandwich now. Yeah, rather than the bypass. But yeah, we used to, you know, we would wear whatever we could, and we got cold. Because no one told you that even if it's dry, put your waterproofs on and that will warm you up. And of course, if you think about it, of course it's good, because it's a wind barrier. So of course it's going to keep you warm. But no one really said that. We just got cold. I remember the first time I put a pair of leggings on, waterproof leggings, when I was 16, because I thought it was going to rain, and then realised that my legs are actually warm. Well, not warm, that's a lie. My legs weren't absolutely freezing, is more accurate. Thank you. But no, if you're going to ride in winter, heated kit, which is precisely the reason I'm taking an old pair of gloves. They still work. They're not very waterproof anymore, and they are well past their best. The elements aren't super warm, but I'm taking them over just to give Gibbo an idea of what heated kit can do, because obviously then he could look at investing in his own stuff to ride if he wants to. Come on, pal, there's nothing coming, the car's a mile away. Oh, a bit of Faithless in my headset. God, it's a DJ tune. Yeah, my playlist has gone from everything from, what have I had? I've had Stranglers, best band in the world, obviously. Bit of Floyd, Foo Fighters, Marillion, a bit of Iron Maiden, and now a bit of Faithless. There's a mix for you. Yeah, Sandwich. This is a nice little town, little village. Some nice places. I met some work friends here a little while back for a coffee. Yeah, nice little place. Right, I'm not far from Thanet now, so I'm going to wrap this up. I say I'm not far. What am I? I'm 5 miles away, but the rest of it's going to be boring. But here you go. Yeah, if you don't live in England, here you go. Old English houses and shit. Old town and shite. So if you live in America, there you go. Chestnut cottage antiques. Old places with lots of wood and shite still standing. Yeah, I don't want to get in your way, mate. Turn left, then keep left. Thank you, little Miss Ways. But yeah, if you've watched this so far, thank you very much. Stay safe, stay riding if you can. Enjoy your time on two wheels, because that's what it's all about. And I will catch you all in the next episode of RS'ing About. Take care all.